What is going on, everyone? As you saw in the thumbnail and in the title of this video, I'm going to be showing you a strange, unusual method to help you sell more life insurance. And this strange but highly effective method and how it can 3x your life insurance sales. So as you saw in the thumbnail, it's like me holding a syringe that's like green fluid in it. Like, what on earth is going on? What am I talking about? How does this method work? Well, I'm going to answer all of that and more in this video. I'm going to show you 3 different weird, unique ways that will help you sell tons and tons more life insurance. So be sure to stick around to the end of the video. But before I jump into all that, let's just kind of set the scene a little bit, right? Let's kind of figure out who's our prospect, what are they like, what does life actually look like for them, right? So if you've ever done telesales, you probably noticed that you're not the only one doing telesales, right? Most seniors get calls from hundreds and hundreds of agents. Like, you're not alone out there. There's competition. There's other people that are also doing this, right? So imagine, let's say you put in your 45, your 50 years, you're done working, you're sitting at home, you're on the recliner, you're looking back, watching TV, and then all of a sudden your phone just keeps ringing and ringing and ringing and ringing and ringing, and it never stops. It's just constantly ringing, right? And every once in a while you're like, all right, you know what, screw this, I'm just going to figure out what's going on. So you pick up the phone, and it's somebody trying to sell you either Medicare or death insurance, which, let's be real, that's how a lot of these people feel about the product that we're selling, or life alert, right? It makes you feel old because you got to wear the little thing around your neck. You press a button when you fall and you can't get up. Like, it's miserable. It's a miserable experience. You're just trying to live your life, enjoy your retirement, and you're just getting slammed, absolutely telephonically terrorized to death constantly, right? And maybe that sounds a little bit like hyperbole, but it's just not. It's just literally, that is exactly what these people are dealing with on a day-to-day basis, right? So we need to have empathy for that. We have to feel it and see it from their perspective to understand what they're coming with when they answer the phone. So how do we stand out from the horde of zombie agents trying to eat our client's pocketbook for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, right? Again, you're the seniors and there's this like horde of people coming for you. They want your social security check. They're like picking you apart from bits, like just trying to eat your pocketbook alive. It's a total nightmare. Everyone wants a piece of your money. So how do we stand out from that? How do we just differentiate ourselves from this horde? I'll give you another analogy, right? Imagine, I hope most of you guys have seen Finding Nemo, the movie. It's my childhood right there. But basically, like, the scene where they're coming out and there's all these pelicans everywhere and they're just pecking at the fish. It's like, mine. That's literally the existence of seniors in America these days. Everyone's picking at them. Mine, I want a piece of that. Like, give me some of that social security check, accountant routing, social, Medicare number. It's just, it's rough, right? So we have to have some empathy for that, right? So how do we stand out? Well, the key is we have to approach this call from an entirely different angle. If everyone's coming at it from this way, we got to come at it from this way, right? We got to come at it from a different angle. So let's pause for a second. We'll take a step back from talking about the seniors and let's talk about yourself. Maybe you are a senior. In that case, we're talking about you, but for most of you, we're talking about what it's like you versus seniors, right? You guys get the point, hopefully. So let's talk about what would cause you to stay on the phone versus hang the phone up quicker than God knows what, right? So let's look at some hang up signs. First of all, you usually will hang up the phone if it sounds like someone is calling you from a foreign call center. However you want to feel about that, maybe you find that offensive. It just is what it is. That's just the way people are. If someone has like a Indian or Pakistani accent, people are more likely to hang up the phone. Same thing with Philippines, usually not as much as India and Pakistan. But people, a lot of times, especially seniors, when they hear an accent, they think they're going to get scammed. It's just the nature of things. So that's a hang up sign if they sound like they're in a foreign call center. If they're selling you something you don't want. So, for example, somebody could call me with the perfect tonality. They have no accent. They sound like they're calling me from, my house, the house next door. But if they're trying to sell me a freaking car extended warranty, I'm going to hang up. Like, there's no chance you're going to keep me on the phone. If you're trying to sell me a car extended warranty, you probably feel the exact same. So if they're trying to sell you something, If someone's trying to sell you something that you want, maybe you'll be a little bit more interested, but not only sell you something you don't want, but if someone's trying to sell you something, you're likely to hang up. Another one, if you've heard the exact same thing a million times. Hello, I'm calling you about the Medicare, whatever, like immediately their mind shuts off, right? You know how like if you've seen the same commercial on TV like 15 times in a row, like the same progressive commercial, and you're just like, I wish Flo would get out of my freaking living room. It's getting obnoxious. That's the way these people feel with the phone call intros, but they never change. Like at least Progressive will switch the commercial up sometimes. Hundreds of agents call using the exact same intro in all these call centers. It sounds the same, right? So if you've heard the same thing a million times, click, hang up. If you're not confident, so if someone calls you and they're like, hello, is this Mr. Tim? Like, click. We don't have time to waste. Everyone is busy, even when they're not busy. Everyone's busy. Even if I'm sitting at home watching TV, I'm busy sitting at home watching TV. I don't want to talk to you. So you have to be quick, you have to be confident, you have to be clear, you have to be concise and authoritative. So those are the hang up signs. What are the stay on signs, right? Why do you stay on the phone, right? If someone calls you, well, why are you actually going to stay on the phone? Well, there's a couple different reasons. One, it's a friend or family member that you know, right? Like your mom calls you. Hopefully you answer the phone when your mom calls. Your mom calls, you're probably going to stay on the phone. If it's a friend who's trying to set up a dinner date, let's go get drinks after work, whatever, you're not going to hang up on your friend unless they're a shitty friend. But most of the time you're staying on the phone. If it's a doctor's appointment, like the doctor's office is calling you, you have an appointment, you're usually going to stay on the phone, right? Oh, I'm reminding you about your appointment here, whatever, right? People stay on the phone. If you're going to get something of value, right? So for example, you might, a barber, like if you have a haircut, you're going to show up to your appointment. You're going to answer the phone when they call you. And then also like a person of authority or a person of value calls you, right? So if I would say the president, but maybe, everyone, like the way we're divided in the country, some people would answer the phone if the president called, some people wouldn't answer the phone. But basically like a person of value, like a celebrity you like, if they call you, you'd be like, oh my God, Beyonce, what up? You guys get the picture, right? A person of value, a person of authority that you would want to hear from, people you would answer the phone. So let's look at, when we break this down, we have these reasons people hang up, we have the reasons people stay on. What are the three reasons, not X, the three reasons that people stay on the phone or show up to appointments? Well, one, they're required to show up. So if you have a court date, you're going to show up to court. If you have a doctor's appointment, you're going to show up to your doctor's appointment. And then also if you will gain something of value for showing up. So people will go to a haircut because it'll make them look good. They'll feel good about themselves. They're getting something of value. And then if somebody they love will gain something of value, right? So for example, I'll show up to an appointment, or I'll show up somewhere to, get something for my mom, or maybe, you're going to buy a gift. You're going to buy a ring for your wife. Like people will go and do things to give something of value to someone they love. So you're required to show up, you're going to gain something of value, or someone you love will gain something of value. Those are the reasons people do things and show up. So before I jump into the three unusual ways to sell more life insurance, let's just kind of analyze what we've covered so far. So basically, what we're really looking at is how can we position ourselves as a source of value and authority instead of an annoying pest, right? And we're about to dive into that, and we're about to talk about it. And if we can do that, you'll never have to worry about money again. People will be coming to you. They'll view you as an authority figure, a person of value. Like, it's not sales, it's consulting and order taking. That's the position that we want to be in. So again, how can we make it so they feel like this is something they have to do? It's required. We're an authority. You got to show up to the doctors. You got to show up to talk to Tim about life insurance. They're going to gain something of value, right? I'm not like, if I buy life insurance, I don't really get anything of value. Maybe you can give them some valuable information. You can educate them, consult them, different things like that. Or someone they love will gain something of value, right? Very obvious as to how this will work with life insurance. So let's jump into number one. And this right here will explain the weird thumbnail of me holding a little syringe. Sell like a doctor, right? So let's think about what is it like when you go to the doctors? Well, one, they're going to charge you a ton of money, so forget that part. But they're always going to diagnose you. So imagine you walk into the doctor's office, you have a cough, you have a headache, you're throwing up, whatever. You walk in, sit down, you say, hey doc, I'm not feeling well. They'd be like, and immediately they take out a notepad, they write you a prescription, and they prescribe you a chemo drug. How would you feel in that moment? You'd probably feel, one, confused, two, a little sketched out as to why the doctor didn't ask you questions, and maybe even a little angry, right? And I guarantee you wouldn't take the chemo drug, especially if they ask you no questions. So basically, like, a prescription without proper diagnosis is malpractice. So a doctor that did that would go to jail. What the doctors actually do when you go in, you say, hey, I have a cough, I have this, I have that. They'll ask you questions and come up with a diagnosis and then give you a prescription. Whereas most salespeople do what I described in the first example. Hey, this is Tim. By the way, you need life insurance. What's your social security number? That's kind of the way that, obviously that's a little bit over exaggerated, but that's the way most people approach this. So how can we step back? How do we sell like a doctor? Well, first, you're going to be asking the questions like, what motivated you to request this information, right? The doctor's going to ask you, how long have you been feeling bad? What are your symptoms? What have you tried so far to solve this? This is the same thing that we need to be asking on the phone with our prospects. What motivated you to request this information? Oh, well, how long have you been looking into the life insurance thing? Okay, and what problem are you trying to solve with this? Who are you trying to protect? Oh, I'm trying to protect my daughter. Okay, got it. And if something were to happen, and you pass away without coverage, how would that affect your daughter? Oh, well, what are you trying to protect her from? How much coverage do you think you need to do that, right? We need to craft a prescription that we can then prescribe to them, and the questions we asked before make them take it seriously. So let's kind of break down what this actually means. Well, one, again, asking those questions, figuring out what creating a diagnosis, and then giving the prescription first. And this also means that you actually have to sell to people who are in pain and in demand. You may be thinking, yeah, that sounds amazing, only selling to people who want life insurance, but how the hell do I do that? We'll talk about that a little bit later in this video. People don't go to the doctor when they're healthy. You don't go to the doctor when nothing's wrong. And people don't buy life insurance if there's no reason to buy life insurance. Like a 20-year-old with no kids, no family, like that person's not buying life insurance. They're just not. Like, they don't. Look at the data, right? So people only buy life insurance when they are in pain or they're in demand or they need it. So we have to sell to people that actually are sick. Like, they have the demand for it. They're in pain. There's a reason for them to buy it. We don't want to just try to shove things down people's throats. So also, let's think about like what type of tonality does a doctor have, right? A doctor is going to command authority and command respect. They're not going to, they're going to sound confident. They're going to sound clear, authoritative. They're not going to really take shit. Doesn't mean that you want to be like rude or abrasive, but you stand your ground, right? They're also not going to try to, sound sing-songy or super salesy. Like, they're just very matter of fact. And also think, how does a doctor create a diagnosis and what type of knowledge do they have? So when I say creating the diagnosis, this is where you actually do have to provide some value on the call. If you just jump on and you're like, hey, blah, 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 3 quotes, let's throw up some numbers and get you on your merry way. We have to come up with the problem, solve the problem, and then give them the prescription. So let's take an example. Let's say I'm selling Sally insurance. Well, first I need to find out why she wants insurance. Okay, it's to protect my daughter. Cool. Now let's figure out what she's actually trying to cover. This is the diagnosis and then the prescription. So let's say she needs X amount for burial. She's in California and she's getting buried. Cool, you need $7,500, whatever. I pulled that number out of nowhere, but you got to come up with this number. You have to actually create and craft the plan for them. So you need X amount for burial. You need X amount because you want to leave money behind. You need X amount because your debt, whatever. And then let's factor that all in with inflation, and we're going to come up with a number for what you need. So most people, they'll just say, oh, you should get about $10,000. How can we actually ask them the questions, create the plan custom towards them, and then sell them the plan that we just created in front of them, giving them the prescription that we just diagnosed, right? So that's ultimately what you want to do is crafting a plan specific and customized towards them. And then also, what type of knowledge do doctors have, right? So doctors go to school for years. Most insurance agents don't even know how to write an application. So you do actually have to invest in your knowledge, invest in your skill set, and really focus on becoming a master at what you're doing, because otherwise people can sniff right through it. So you really want to dive deep, learn the products, learn the market, hey, this is how the cash value works, this is how this works. And when you are able to demonstrate that knowledge on the call, your prospects will take you that much more seriously. Cool. So that's selling like a doctor. Let's get to the second one, which most people kind of gawk when I say this. So they're a little taken aback. And this is, one sec, let me take a sip of my drink. And number 2 is actually not focusing on selling. You're not even going to focus on getting the sale. You're going to focus on getting the review. So what do I mean by that, right? So instead of focus on getting the sale, pretend that every single person that you talk to, not every person you sell, but every person you talk to, period, has access to leave you a review and will leave you a review. So let's say you have a Google review page. If you don't have one, go create one. But let's say you have this Google review page, and every single person you talk to, you are assuming they're going to go on your review page and leave your review about their experience with you, whether they buy or not. Meaning, I call Miss Jones, hey, Miss Jones, how's it going? She's like, oh, I already have life insurance. How do you react to that? Are you rude? Are you really, really pushy? Or how do you react, right? What review would Miss Jones leave you from that interaction? So this means the people that you have a conversation with, but maybe they don't need your help. How would those people review you? Would they say, oh, Jimmy was super pushy and tried to twist my arm into getting me to buy something I didn't need, and he kept calling me over and over and over, even though I told him to screw off? Like, how would they review you? What would your current star rating be right now? So the reason that I say this is essentially what happens whenever you jump on the phone and you're trying to get a sale is you're going to subconsciously make decisions, right? So whenever you're in a social situation, you're having a human interaction, you have a goal for the interaction. You have something on your mind, right? Like if I'm at a restaurant and I'm ordering food, like the things that I'm going to say are because I'm hungry, right? If I'm on the phone with somebody and I'm trying to sell them something, my goal is to sell them something. Therefore, the things I'm going to say are going to be aligning me towards that goal. So this is simply repositioning what you're aligning towards. So instead of how can I close this person, I'm saying how can I serve this person? And it's weird because what you'll find is you'll actually close more. It's counterintuitive. So what does that actually look like? Well, if somebody doesn't actually need your help, don't help them. Don't sell them anything. Just tell them, hey, look, right now you have the best thing possible. I don't really think that you need to get more life insurance, and just basically kind of leave it at that, right? And what you can do is when you create that review page, the people that you sell, or the people that don't buy from you but that you serve will still leave you a review. Like some of the biggest agencies out there, I've looked at their reviews and they'll literally be like, John was an amazing agent. I wasn't able to get life insurance yet because I don't need it, but I'm going to be reaching back out to him whenever I do, right? So how can you focus on let's serve these people, let's provide them the best possible customer service as possible, instead of just going for the sale? And when you make that switch, like we literally tested this out a couple weeks ago, the first day we did it, 3 apps in one day when normally we were doing about 1 to 2. So since that, our production has been sky high just from making this one tweak, nothing else being changed, our production increased. So putting out that goodwill into the marketplace will always pay you back. So again, focus on getting the review instead of focusing on getting the sale, and watch your production skyrocket. Now this last one, this is probably going to ruffle some feathers here. Only sell to people who want to buy. So this sounds simple, but you're probably saying to yourself, like, this is way easier said than done. Tim, what the hell are you talking about? I'm so pissed off. How dare you say something like this? Well, listen to me for a second. Basically, there's only so much time in the day. And so if you're spending all your time talking to people who don't want to talk to you, you're wasting your time. Let's take two agents. One agent is calling through a list of aged leads or whatever, who, it's a list of data leads that he pulled from God knows where, the crevices of the earth, and he's spending all day calling through that list. He's making 500 dials a day, just pounding his head against the wall, just banging his head against the table. 500 dials a day, whatever. Cool. Now let's take this other agent. And this guy is making 100 calls a day. But these are people that are actively searching for life insurance, requesting for his help. Who do you think is going to make more sales? Even though this guy's doing 5 times the output, if these leads are really high intent and they're actually searching for life insurance, this guy's going to absolutely smoke the other agent, even with the same amount of time during the day, right? So the way that you actually do this in practice is you need to find people that are in pain, and then you need to market to those people. So basically, like, what most agents do and what most agencies and IMOs do is they have Stone Age level marketing, which Stone Age level marketing is like buying a list and then just calling the crap out of the list, right? Nowadays, people want to be educated. They want to be given value to before you even speak with them. They want everything before they even pay you any money. Like, think about the last time you bought a course or a program. Maybe you've bought something from us in the past. You probably watched a bunch of YouTube videos on them. You got a bunch of their free stuff before you even decided to do business with them. And that's the exact same way that people want to buy life insurance. But guess what? Nobody's doing it. Everybody is just doing the Stone Age, like, slam your head against the phone and just hope people answer. And nobody likes it. The agents don't like it. The people on the other end of the phone don't like it. If you can really build this out and become, like, have high quality marketing and branding and giving value, like, the world is yours. Like, money will just fall out of the sky into your hands. Obviously not, well, yeah, money will fall out of the sky into your hands, literally. So how do you actually do this? Well, there's 2 different ways that you can sell to people who want to buy. You can either A, become a marketer and learn all of these skills, which is worth its weight. It's worth the time. And let me kind of describe to you what that looks like. You basically need to learn an advertising platform like Facebook. You also need to learn how to create organic content and create things of value so you can provide value to people in advance. You'll want to learn email marketing so you can email people and market to people over like once they become a lead, because nobody really uses email, and it's a massive gap. So you want to learn like an advertising platform like Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, something like that. You will need to create organic content of value so you can nurture people and send them content, and then also learn email marketing so you can follow up with those people. There's some more skills that you want to learn too, but basically mastering those things. The thing is, when I talk to most agents, and I've had probably thousands of conversations with insurance agents across different calls, most people just want to close and most people just want to sell, right? Which leads me to the second option, which is what most people I think should do, which is partner with a marketer, right? So being the best agent, the best salesperson as possible, and then partnering with an elite level world-class marketer. And that's what I think ultimately most people should do. And there's a couple different ways you can do that. If you can find a lead vendor that'll do it, great. Most lead vendors don't do that because they're generating leads for a bunch of people. They're not really focused on doing the back-end marketing and providing the value and the important stuff. So what most people should end up doing is partnering with an agency that will do that will do all of the marketing and do the nurture and the organic content and everything else. And then basically just come in as like a red zone person, right? Like you're just closing deals, making touchdowns, slamming dunks, and just catching alley-oops all day. That's essentially like the optimal spot for an agent, in my opinion. And the agency is doing like the bulk of the work when it comes to the marketing. Because the only reason you have to call a list of cold leads is because your agency or IMO or lead vendor is not having high quality marketing. Otherwise, people would actually be coming to them asking for life insurance. Like that's ultimately like what does happen when you have good marketing. So I'll kind of touch on a way that you guys can do that. We actually, we're hiring agents, and I would say we're pretty good marketers. We're selling about a policy a day right now, doing about $40K a month on our own pen. So going pretty well there. But before I do, let me uncover this little quote here that I think is really important. People don't want to buy from salespeople. They want to buy from experts, right? And this really just sums up all of these three things I just touched on in one sentence. People don't want to buy from salespeople. They want to buy from experts. So how can you position yourself as an expert instead of just one more zombie agent in the horde of people trying to pick them apart? So with that being said, let me just throw this in here for you guys, for those of you that want to learn more about how you can partner with us and have us become your marketer. Essentially, we are on a mission to build a $100 million IMO. Our goal is to grow and scale, or not an IMO, insurance agency over the next 10 years and then sell it for an exit of $100 million. And basically have a closer model where agents are essentially, their main job is closing deals instead of doing all the other stuff. So people won't have to buy leads. We'll provide all of the leads. They won't have to do all the software, all the crap, the finance, all the stuff that comes with like being an independent agent that's not fun. We want to handle all of that stuff so the agents can just focus on selling, right? So essentially free leads, one-on-one trading, selling about a policy a day, which is fantastic. Most people don't do that. A free CRM, opportunities for growth within the company, and then potential for equity, right? Like I said, we're trying to build a company to exit for $100 million. And what we want to do is the people that help us build that, we want to give them equity in the company. So when we sell the company, we can make a bunch of people rich in the process. So that's our ultimate goal, is building a $100 million insurance agency, having a nationally recognized insurance brand and being the go-to place for people to buy final expense. And I know we're going to do it. Right now, we're kind of just in the infant stages of that, and we're looking to hire 2 agents this month. So if you want to learn more about that opportunity, click the link down below in the description. If not, totally fine. No worries at all. Just enjoy the free content on this channel. And if you want to see a video where I break down how you can sell one insurance policy every single day like clockwork, click this video right here, and I will see you guys there. Take it easy. Enjoy the rest of your day, and go sell some policies. Peace out.